Let's do the RFK Jr. story, which broke. This is the child sex trafficking story. We're going to walk this through. We're not going to go down too deep of a rabbit hole today, but I think that we just need to look at this and take it for what it is and ask the appropriate questions of what is actually happening and what is happening next. For those of you who did not hear, RFK Jr. Had a moment, a check-in moment with the president, with all the people, all his whole cabinet sitting at the table in the White House with the media watching, and was able to tell him where we're at right now with the HHS and cleaning things up as he's supposed to be cleaning things up. He's going to tell Trump and the rest of the world what he's been able to accomplish so far. And jaws are dropping hearing his assessment of what they've been up to at the HHS. Check it out.
Have ended HHS as the role as the vector, the principal vector in this country for child trafficking.
Wait, what? Wait. We've ended the HHS's principal issue with child trafficking? What? Maybe we heard that wrong. Wait, go on. What are you saying? What was the HHS? The HHS, the previous administration, what were they up to? What was this about child trafficking?
And during the Biden administration, HHS became a collaborator in child trafficking and for sex and for slavery.
For sex and for slavery, a collaborator? Biden's HHS was a collaborator with child sex trafficking. He's telling this publicly. This isn't a recording in a secret meeting that leaked. Wow. Anything else there to say?
And we have ended that, and we're very aggressively going out and trying to find these children, the 300,000 children that were lost by the Biden administration.
We've ended it, and we're aggressively going out to find missing children with the number of 300,000. So we gotta piece this together here. So in these 100 days, well, less than 100 days for RFK Jr., he had to go through that whole process of going through the Senate hearings. So he's been far less than 100 days doing this, but he's ended it. What does that mean? You've ended the participation of the HHS with child sex trafficking and slavery. You've ended it. You've wrapped it up. No longer it's a problem. And you're looking for missing kids, upwards of 300,000 missing kids through that were gone missing with the Biden administration's HHS, who was coordinating child sex trafficking. So what do you mean by ending it? I think that's really the problem. And a lot of Mahas, as we call Mahas, they are, on one hand, they're saying, look, this is good news that he's doing this because the Biden administration was actively participating in this. The media is not going to cover this. They're going to leave this part out. We already know that. The part I'm concerned about is as the Maha group is celebrating this moment, we're skipping by the part of he's ended it. What does ending that look like? How many arrests have been made? Do we have any arrests coming? Is there going to be a follow-up question from Trump? I've searched Twitter. I cannot find a follow-up to this just yet. Hopefully we get a follow-up. I don't know what Trump's response is, but they're all sitting around letting him say this. And we're supposed to be celebrating that this has happened. And now we're actively looking for children. But the people doing this aren't being held accountable for doing this. It sounds to me like another Jeffrey Epstein situation. It sounds to me like another JFK file situation. It sounds to me like another 9/11 file situation. It sounds to me like every situation that involves investigation, looking into it and solving and releasing information to the public and correcting it and moving on and everything being on the up and up now, no worries, we're fixing things. it seems to me, and same with, by the way, let's not forget the U.S. aid, annihilating U.S. aid through with Elon. Where are the arrests? Why are we saying there's all this corruption, illegal activity, money laundering, in this case, child sex trafficking, in the case of 9/11, starting illegal wars, doing what killing American people in the process of getting manufacturing consent for multiple wars, multiple greater Israel projects, countries to invade and to take out. In the case of JFK, taking JFK out because he was trying to stop a nuclear program in Israel. So, and Epstein, effing Epstein, a list of people that we're not actually getting to hold people accountable for participating, again, in child sex trafficking. So add it to the list. Add another one to the list. HHS, Biden administration, colluding with whoever they were colluding with, probably cartel through the CIA that we fund, and of course the Mossad, all part of it. And you've ended it. You've ended it. Who's being arrested? Come on, RFK. Who's being arrested? And why isn't anybody asking that question? The media is not going to ask the question because they're not even going to report that this is even happening. So is there anyone at that table with their Make America Great hats that were made in China, as I think was pointed out in the chat? Gulf of America hats made in China by CheeseSlice. Thanks for that. Who at that table is going to ask that question? Who? I have not seen footage after that speech, that mini speech by RFK. I don't think there's any pushback. I think they go on to the next issue. That's my guess. If something comes up, I will share it with you guys. We will let you know if anybody is pushing back and asking to RFK Jr.'s face. Ask him to his face. Have any arrests been made? And if not, when are they going to happen? I will not end this segment on a sour note. I want to also say that RFK Jr. is making the rounds and having discussions that should be being had. That is important to mention. Lo and behold, we found him on the Dr. Phil show, because Dr. Phil's been an advocate for COVID information to be accurate and free speech and all that. Well, in the case of medical information and the big pharma corruption, he's definitely on the side of that with RFK Jr. Well, he sat in an audience with Dr. Phil and started talking about none other than the topic of chemtrails. Interesting. I guess RFK Jr. is adding chemtrails to the list of things to investigate. And again, these are the questions. I'm going to play a clip from this. It's important because we're actually getting audience questions, audience that's in the Dr. Phil audience. They are asking questions that we want to ask, which is, who is responsible for these chemtrails? And what are we going to do about it? Who are we going to hold accountable? Who's going to be arrested? Very important questions, because we're talking about justice, not just stopping something and saying, oh, it's done. It's done. We stopped it. It's all good, guys. We solved the problem. No more child sex trafficking. No more chemtrails. Well, who was responsible for it? What's going on? Here's a clip of the chemtrails discussion on Dr. Phil, which I was shocked to see, by the way. I did not know he was getting into the chemtrail arena. We're glad he's doing it. That's awesome. Let's see how well it goes. Here it is.
My biggest concern is the stratospheric aerosol injections that are continuously peppered on us every day. Bromium, aluminum, strontium, it's sprayed in our skies all day long. And I know you've talked to Dane Wigington about this. He seems to be one of the experts in the field.
Is there a question?
Yes. How do we stop it?
That is not happening in my agency. You know, we don't do that. It's done, we think, by DARPA. And a lot of it now is coming out of the jet fuel.
Yes,
so,
sir.
you know, those materials are put in jet fuel. I'm going to do everything in my power to stop it. We're bringing on somebody who's going to think only about that, find out who's doing it, and holding them accountable.
Find out who's doing it and holding them accountable. I'm glad to hear him say that. Let's see if it actually happens. But as we just saw in the previous clip, once he finds out who's doing it, he just checks in and says, well, we got to the bottom of it. We solved it. It's done. So I hope that doesn't happen here, but he's saying DARPA is responsible, most likely, and he's got somebody looking into it with the intent of solving the case, blaming it on somebody, and figuring out how they got away with it, who was funding it, how it was able to happen, what is exactly they did to us over the skies. We've been talking about this for the last 2 years. Nobody in LA wants to talk about it. I'll tell you that. People say, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist talking about chemtrails. Well, good. The conversation's happening, looking into it. And the last part is the most important. He says, finding out who did it and holding them accountable. That's what we need. We need more accountability. And I hope that RFK Jr. can at least do that for this issue, for chemtrails. I don't think anyone's going to get arrested, but can we find out who did it and find out if we're going to, hold the act? What does that look like, holding them accountable? Having them fired, having their name smeared, maybe? I don't know. Is anyone going to jail? That's what I want to know. I want to know in these next 3.5 years or whatever's left, 3 3.75. I want to know who's going to get arrested for any of the stuff that Trump ran on that he was going to solve and fix. Let me know. Guys, if you find out somebody has been arrested for any of this stuff, let me know, because we'd love to report on it, because I ain't seen it. I ain't seen any arrests.